Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing things a little different. I'm going to be showing you my setup and how I have planned for 2026. So you will not be seeing my face, wham, wham, but you will be seeing everything that I've prepared for this year. So first, if you don't know, why would you know? This is like my fifth video. So first, since you don't know, I love Christmas. I love, spending that time with my family, but I love New Year's. And it's because I love a new beginning. So I actually like Mondays too, which some people find strange, which I think actually most people probably find strange for the same reason. But New Year's is like the Super Bowl of beginnings, right? So I really spend a lot of time planning out my year, planning out what I want things to look like. I believe in manifestation, and so that all comes into play here. And so let me just get right into it. I guess I'll start with my history with bullet journaling because that's what I do. I do bullet journaling. And bullet journaling just is a system that was created by some guy. I don't know his name. I'll reference him in the link. In the comments below, just so I've given credit where credit is due. But it's just a system of creating your journals in your planner in an actual journal that has little dots. Well, I use it for planners, but other people can do journaling for anything, right? My main purpose is for planning and organizing my productivity. Other people might do it I know some people do it for like tracking books, like they have a reading bullet journal, all kinds of things. I use one journal at a time. So everything that I do goes into one journal. Besides, like, I have like a diary where I write my personal thoughts, but I try not to have anything else that I write notes on, anything like that. It all goes into one place so I know where it is at all times. I started bullet journaling after I had my first daughter. And I started with this little guy here. It's the same brand. Once I find something I like, I really don't switch it up. So I'll refer back to this for some things because there's some things I just didn't do in this journal because I didn't find it to be necessary. Okay, so for 2026, I went with an orange one. You see the first one was purple. The one I had after that was pink. And actually, the one that I had that was pink, it actually lasted me for like two or 3 years, right? Because 2021, I had my daughter in 2021. So this one was for 2022. And then 2023, 24, and 25, I did in this journal, which means that I wasn't using it very much. I had kind of accomplished the things that I needed, which kind of got me just going on. I was running on autopilot basically through that time. And then also I had like another pregnancy. So there's a lot of reasons why I just wasn't really into productivity per se. So I didn't need it. Now that I am out of pregnancy phase and I've got this new beginning happening with me being a new mom of 2, I have decided to start again. Okay. So the bullet journal, this one has some things already in it. Like it has this key code, which I didn't do here because I didn't need to, but really a key code for bullet journaling, they have like different signs for the running task list that I'll show you guys later. And the different signs just indicate where you are with that task. You can keep track of it without having to like write notes. You just put a little note here. So I'll go over that later. I'll have to blur that out. Anyways, and my name, this is just a random page that really doesn't do much. Your index. So if you want to track where you did different things, then I would do it here. So I'll probably eventually do that. But for right now, I really don't need that, right? That's kind of just for like archiving purposes. And so some people like to do it, some people don't. Okay, so if you are not new to bullet journaling or Bujo YouTube, then you already know like people get super creative and artistic with their bullet journals. Like they spend so much time on the artistic part. I admire those people. I am not one of those people. I do want my things to be pretty and I would love to tap into my artistic side. That's something I really want to do. So that's why this page exists, because this is me tapping into my artistic side. Like I literally never draw, I never do anything like that, but I did this page for that. But yeah, you always have a title page, right, where you put the year. And then in the journals, if you use a journal for more than 1 year, then you would be able to, do a new page when you get to a new year. And then I have my quote. I always have a quote for each year. And this one is, she remembered who she was and the game changed. And I just really like that quote. It was from a book. I can't remember which one it was from now. Anyhow, and then I did some little doodles here of plants. And I am very proud of these. Like, just because when I tell you that I don't draw, that I'm not like naturally a good artist or anything like that, I really am not. And so I was happy to have found a YouTuber who just was doodling, and it showed me how to do the different types of leaves. And it was nice. It was relaxing, and I was very proud of doing it. It's not the most beautiful thing, but for me it is, and that's all that matters. Anywho, so after the title page, then you're gonna have, or what I have, let me talk about what I have. I have my futures log, and this is just the general view of all the months, so you can see, the whole year planned out. And then here I can also put things down that maybe I haven't created a spread for. So for example, for me, I've created a spread for January, February, and March for the first quarter, but I have not created any of the spreads for the following months. And so if something comes up that I'm going to be doing later in the year, then I would put it here. And then also I put things like birthdays, anniversaries, if there's any trips that we'll be taking, and then like the school days for my daughter. So like the days that they're on vacation, because those always catch me off guard. So I have those here as well. Now, the thing about, I think a lot of times when people do these run-throughs through their bullet journal, it's fresh. They just created the spreads and it hasn't been used. It's gorgeous. But the year has started, and so I have already started using mine. And that's a great thing for you to see, because you can see that the journal actually gets used. It's not meant, I don't think that you need to worry so much about it being beautiful or anything like that. As long as it makes sense for your brain, that is all that matters. So this makes sense for my brain. It is not cute, but it does the trick. I have, so what I've done for birthdays is I just use the same color to make a square around the date of that birthday. And then I put the name of that person's birthday and make a square at the bottom. So that way I know, okay, this one is for the 7th is for Allie's birthday. The 11th is for Carlos's birthday. And then I might do, so then if there's like a trail of days that I need to remember, like, my mom's out of town, then I go through and mark it as a line here. Just whatever you need to do to make sure that the note matches the way that you've marked it on the calendar, basically. So this is what works for me. Get into it. It's just so funny I can't believe I'm even sharing this with you guys, honestly, because the bullet journal community is just everything's so perfect. And so I feel like ashamed if another bullet journal YouTuber sees this, they're going to be like, ew, what's she doing? But you need to see this. This is how I organize my life. Okay, so for the next spread, this is my word of the year. And this is like a diary entry, just telling me like what it is that I need to be focusing on and why this is my word of the year. For me, Renaissance, which means rebirth, is just a perfect word after having a child, because I believe that, I feel like when you have a child, you do have like a rebirth, right? You change who you were and you become a new person. I think it just happens naturally. And so that's where I feel like I am in this point in my life, is that I'm redefining who I am. So that's my word of the year. Right here is where my vision board will go. I actually have I made it on Canva and I'm waiting for it to get here. I just printed out like on a picture. It's like a photo, and I just posted in here. So the next thing, I don't do a lot of tracking. Some people have trackers for absolutely everything that's going on in their lives, and I don't do all of that, but I do have this savings goal ones. And I like to do it to where I have a tracker of how much I put into my savings each month. And then I have this to see how close I get to my goal of how much I would like to save this year. So say a prayer for me, cross your fingers that I get to my goal of 20,000. That's going to take quite a bit of, that's going to take a lot of, oh my God, why do I forget words like this? Self-control, discipline. There you go. It's going to take a lot of discipline for me to get there, but I think I can somehow, some way. And then I have this right here. This is just like where I put notes for things that I want to do, buy, or cook, because I'll forget them in the moment. So I do it for buying things because it helps me not do impulse buys. And so if there's something that I actually want and that feels like a good idea at some point when I'm like looking online or whatever, I will write it down and then wait like a month or two or whatever I feel is appropriate before I actually pull the trigger on buying that item. So for example, right now I'm actually considering, I guess I can write this in here. I'm actually considering getting an espresso machine. And that's been like nagging me on my mind. And so I'm just going to put it there. It also doesn't go into my budget for this month as far as expenses. So I can't do it right now, but let's see what happens next month. When I have some money freed up, then I can ask myself, is this something I want to spend that money on? And then my things that I would like to do, it's just different things. Like one thing I want to do this year is go camping with my husband and my daughters. I've never gone camping, but I love the idea of my kids kind of being connected to nature at a really young age, because it's not something that I grew up with, which is why it's been I've been wanting to go camping for like years now, and it's been such a feat for me. And so I just want to do it now so my kids get used to it and it's not a big deal for them like it is for me. And then of course, just to create those memories. I also have creating some photo albums, which has been on my to-do list for like years now. I don't have like physical photo albums at all. So I would like to organize my photos and then create like a digital photo album that's organized, and then create physical photo albums of some key points, some key moments in our lives. Cleaning out my laptop, just doing a digital cleanse of all. I just have so many documents. Like you should see my download folder right now. It's just crazy. I need to get that together. Anyways, all of that goes here. And then things that I like to cook, because when it comes time for me to actually cook dinner, God, I have no inspiration because I just don't feel like doing it. And so if I have like a list of just go-to items, I can be like, oh, okay, I'll just make that today without having to think so much about it. That's the whole point for me. That's what a planner is. It's for me to not have to think about what I need to do in the moments that I'm actually living my life. I can just go somewhere and like the answers are just there, which is when we get into the planning of how to accomplish things in my life. So I use the 12-week year, and the 12-week year, if you don't know, is this great book. I'll put a link that just talks about how to organize your goals in order to actually achieve them. So instead of doing resolutions, you can call it a resolution, I don't care what you call it, but I think the issue that people have with resolutions is that, we just say, I'm just going to magically make this happen. I'm going to magically get $1 million or save $20,000 or whatever, but there's no planning or organization on how to actually execute that. This is all about the execution. So for my 12-week year, I have my goals, and this is just what is actually on this paper. There's a lot of thought that goes into it further in regards to how you envision your life being in 3 years, 10 years, so that way you can narrow it down to what you need to accomplish today in order to get to that vision, that life that you have envisioned for yourself much further down the line. And then it also, the reason it's called 12-week years, because instead of focusing on year-long goals, like a goal that you're going to accomplish in 2026 by the end of the year, you're looking at your 12 weeks as if it were 1 year, treating it like a year. So you need to accomplish these goals within 12 weeks, not a year, because a year is a really long time to be saying that you're going to do something. And it gives you too much space to where oftentimes it just kind of dies out. You lose interest because you keep telling yourself, oh, I can do it later. I can do it later. And then it's Christmas. And so with that, my 12-week my first 12 weeks, you can look at as quarterly planning, whatever. I'm not looking at my goals as if, oh, I need to break a year-long goal down into 4 parts. No, these are the goals that I have for now, and I need to accomplish them within the next 12 weeks. So I put them up here, and then I section out each goal, and I put the tactics, the actual things I need to accomplish or that I need to do in order to get these outcomes. So this works really well for me and my brain. And then after that, to make it even more specific, then I have weekly tasks that I need to accomplish, and I write them all down in order for me to have completed all of these things under the goals. And then if I've done that, then I will very likely have the outcome that I want, right? The outcome you can't always guarantee, but you can just go through the steps, and hopefully something close to what you're wanting here will happen. So at the end of your week, you can give yourself a score, just like a percentage. So if you have 5 tasks that you needed to accomplish that week, then and you only accomplished 4 of them, then you would get an 80%, right? Yeah, 80%. What you would get a 4 out of 5, whatever that percentage is. Pretty sure it's 80. And so on and so forth. So this is how I like to just set my quarter up to help me feel like I'm celebrating something every quarter, as opposed to making goals that I'm waiting to celebrate the accomplishment of at the end of the year. Okay, so then I have my monthly spread, and again, it's pretty much I migrate anything that's on my future log for that month. I migrate it over here for the most part. And then, yeah, everything on there I migrate over here. And then I have like another little section of me telling myself what I want for this month or this year or whatever, just to keep myself focused and motivated. And then we have our weekly spread. And the weekly spread is, of course, where all of the magic happens. So this is the first week of the year, right? And so I was still kind of in holiday mode over here. So it exists. I made some notes of things I wanted to get done, and I didn't do any of them, which is what these little task things are. So let's talk about the rolling task list. So this is a pretty big part of the bullet journal style for a lot of people. It's how I track my tasks. So I start by making a very simple layout here, right? I put the day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I always do this weird like T with an H attached to it for Thursday, and then Friday, and then the weekend. Then I just put a dot and I draw a line across, just so it's kind of organized. Underneath where this line is, that's where I put the task. Where this dot is, that's where you put the indicator of what that task is looking like at the end of the week. So let's go back to my old bullet journal so you can see. So in here, it shows you that if you have a dot next to the task, then it's incomplete. But what I do with the dot is I start with creating my task list, and then I would choose a day of the week that I plan to get that task done on. And I just start with putting a dot on whichever day. And I like that because I can see kind of where everything is laid out. Now today is Thursday, so this is all a mess now, but it makes perfect sense to me. And so, for example, plan a family gathering. I said that I was going to plan that on Wednesday. And so I just put a dot for Wednesday, and that's what I did for all of these. And then when you do that task, for example, on Monday, I had a fantastic Monday, right? I got all of my tasks done on Monday that I said I was going to get done, right? Because these were all just dots, and I crossed them out because I did them. So an X through the dot means that it's done. This is how I do it. I think people change these a little bit depending on how it works for them. But I like to put the X on the actual day that I did the task. And once I've completed that task, then I just draw a line over to the dot that's right next to the task. But now if I come over to Tuesday, for example, I didn't do the task on the day I initially planned. So there was a dot on Tuesday. I had this planned to study Chinese. I said I was going to study Chinese on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I didn't do it on Tuesday. And so when I want to move that over or say that I didn't do it, then I just do a little sideways triangle or a little arrow to the right. And this is a task that had multiple days, but I could do that and then I should draw a line, right? Where's my pencil? Where's my pen? Pen, where'd you go? Hold on. Okay, so what I would do is just draw a line here to connect it to the next day. So this is the next day that I was supposed to do it. I didn't do it on Wednesday, so I would then do another arrow and then draw a line here. There's still hope for today. It's still Thursday, so we'll say that I'm gonna do it today. I think I will start. Actually, I will do that today. And so this is the next day. So if I finish that task, then I can exit out here and then just draw a line here. Some people, I think they actually do it. They put the little marks, like if they finish it over here, but I don't like that. That doesn't mean anything to me if I put the X on this side. So that's how I do that. What else? So we've talked about, are there any other ones that I have here? So since this was a multiple day task, and then that one's a little bit different, but this is a good example of one. So record my YouTube video was supposed to happen on Tuesday. I didn't do it. And I said, okay, I'm going to do it on Thursday. Oh, today's Thursday. And so when I did that, I just moved it over. So at the end of the day, I basically go through and I'm looking at the task for that day and I just tell myself where it's supposed to go. So today I will be editing, or I will be recording, which I'm doing now. So I'm going to do a half. I just do a slash through it. And then if I finish the task, because I have not actually posted, which is a part of the task, well, if I post the video, or once I post the video today, then I can complete that with an X. And that's pretty much it. I think that's generally all I do. At the end of the week, if I haven't done a task at the end of the week, then I will come over here and I will put a right pointing arrow like this one, to say that I've migrated this over to the following week or to another week. Okay. So that's how that works for me. It keeps me organized. It may look like absolute chaos to someone else, but this is the best way for me. And I love this layout for my journal for my weeklies, because I don't ever need to get to more tasks than this space fits. Because if I do, I have way too much on my plate. Like I already have too much on my plate this week because like my kid didn't go back to school until Wednesday. So it has not been the most productive week. But so this is more than enough tasks for me. So some people might think, oh, it's not enough space. But if you have tasks that are running down the whole length of your journal, you might be overdoing it unless you are just Superwoman, Superman. That's just not who I am. So for me, that's all that I can get done. I have an area here where I put like a focus if there's something that I really need to focus on that week, or it can be another space where I put like a motivational note to myself. And then this area over here, I actually used it to track my Atomic Habits, which is another book that I love for productivity. So like I said, some people they have a bunch of different trackers like at the beginning of their journals, and I only have my savings one. But I do like to do these Atomic Habits, which is really the concept is just to do like get in the habit of doing like the very bare minimum of a few different things that will impact your productivity throughout the day and impact the type of person that you are, honestly. So these are very, like I said, bare minimum. Like the first one is to turn the TV off for 1 hour a day intentionally. I watch a lot. Like I just always have the TV on. And so I actually thought that was going to be really hard for me because it's just something that's always on. Like I need that noise. But it's actually been super easy. So I think I'm actually going to turn this around to be only watch. I don't like negative, like things that like limiting tasks. I don't like those, honestly. So I do feel like the 1 hour of no TV a day is a great signal for me to turn off the TV. And once I've done that, I often just go beyond, and I've gone hours and hours without watching TV. But for me, it's just the act of turning off the TV that is the hard part. And once you start, then you're off to the races. And that's really what Atomic Habits is about. So I was going to say that I was going to change this over to be like only watch an hour of TV a day. But I feel like limiting goals that are focused on limiting or restricting are not helpful for me. So I'll just keep it at this. It's actually been working really well. And then I have like 10 minutes of stretch time. I never stretch for just 10 minutes, but if I'm in a bind and I'm just like, I don't have time to do anything, I can always convince myself to do 10 minutes of stretching. And if I just do 10 minutes of stretching, like that's good for a rough day, Eating breakfast. I hate eating breakfast. I just am not hungry for a very long time when I wake up. And so eating breakfast, which means eating something before noon, is all I need. I just feel like it gets me off to a good start to the day when I do that. And also like I'm a breastfeeding mom, and the fact that I don't eat until like 2:00 sometimes is really bad for me. So I'm keeping that there. And then 30 minutes of Chinese study a day, which I can do on my phone. So like I said, bare minimums, but I have them color coded, and then I just put those little color boxes on each of the days so I can just check it off. That is the easiest tracker for me. That's how I stay minimalist. Anything more than that, if I do anything more in advanced or visual, I'm just not going to stick to it. This spread that I do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. So when I'm even setting these up, I need it to be as simple as possible. I'll show you in my first bullet journal, my weekly spreads were all, well, actually just look at the, like I tried. I mean, they're still not like super, for me, this is a lot. And my spreads were these rounded cornered squares. And this was so much more work for me. Also, the layout didn't work for me either. I just don't need that much space. And so now I have cut it down to the most minimalist setup so that I don't get deterred from actually doing the setup again, because I have to do it over and over again, right? So I set up my first quarter here. It's all done. And then I'll just have to do it again for each quarter. And it's super simple. That's the reason why I set it up like this. And yeah, that's how I have planned my year. Oh, I'll also say with a running task that since I have all of my tasks here, I don't need a bunch of space for the daily sections. All I put there is any meetings or appointments I have. And then like this week I put the workouts I want to do, which by the way, I don't know why I thought I was going to work out 6 days out of the week. I didn't work out on Monday. I worked out Tuesday and Wednesday, and I was going to work out today, but my body was telling me absolutely not. Like, you need to take a breath. Also, I'm going swimming tomorrow for my exercise. And today was supposed to be an upper body day. So if I had worked out today, I would be absolutely dead tomorrow at the pool. So I'm going to do 2 days of working out, 1 day of rest, 2 days of workout, so on and so forth. Anyways, so this is my setup. Those are the goals that I have. And I'm just really excited for the new year. I'm excited to be clear again on my objectives and being in a space where I can plan and be kind of more goal focused now that I'm not, last year, 2025 was not a wash, but I guess professionally it was kind of a wash because I was busy, carrying and birthing and then taking care of a baby. So, I didn't have the capacity to do all this, but I really love being in a space of clarity on what I want to do, how I'm going to get it done, and then just going through it and executing on everything. So listen, and also if you don't if you have weeks like this one, for example, where it's Thursday and I still have not done a lot of the things, don't even worry about it. Just do it again. Monday's the new start to the week. So on Friday, you look at it and you migrate what you over and you do it again. And so, yeah, I'm just excited. I hope that you guys are clear on where you are with this year, what you would like to get out of this year, out of this quarter. I would love to hear what your goals are for this year. So please Leave it in the comments. What are your goals for this year? Has anybody read the 12-Week Year or Atomic Habits? And do you have any other books or methods that you live by to help keep you productive and motivated for the year? I will see you in my next video. Hopefully you'll see my face that time. And yeah, bye. Click like and subscribe below.